What is going on, guys? Johnny on the track, back with another video. And yeah, this is kind of strange, right? You don't often see me with guests, but I have one sitting here. But before I introduce him, I want to shout out the partnership. I know that's something we usually do right before we get into the bets, but I want to wait, or I want to do it now rather, before I introduce our legend of a guest. But as you guys know, the NASCAR betting preview show, it's the partnership we have. It's how you would be listening to the podcast version of this show. It's got plenty of great motorsports betting content creators like myself who can get you set up for the week that is. Of course, this week it's Indy. So all you're going to do, however you listen and consume your podcast, whether it be the podcast app, Spotify, search NASCAR Betting Preview Show. Give us a follow, and you could, like I said, hear all of the great motorsports betting content creators that'll get you set for the weekend that is Indy. And of course, the live NASCAR Betting Preview Show, live on X Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, just another resource for you to be set to win some money on Sunday. With that, I get to now introduce a very, very special guest. I will be going down to, or I guess going west. Yeah, down and west. To Indy this weekend. So I wanted to spice up the show by getting, like I said, a legend of the game on our show. He is the co-host of the Barstool Sports Rubbin' is Racing podcast. He is Barstool Spider. Spider, thanks for joining me. First of all, how are you doing? And I know that you and the boys went to the Chicago street race. I've never been. I want to hear a little bit about that. There it is. He's got the shirt. I want to hear a little bit about that. But again, just thanks for coming on, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get into it real quick, thank you so much for having me on, Johnny. First time, long time watcher of your show. And sometimes I tune in and even get pick inspiration from yours truly. So
Wow.
I'm blessed to be here and I appreciate it. I love what you do for the sport of NASCAR. So Chicago was great. Aside from the rain, which at this point we probably should have expected to be coming. I thought it was really cool. They did a great job, and everything from last year to this year, it just seemed like a much more refined event. Even down to like the traffic problems that exist in this city of Chicago, where I'm recording this from. It seemed like no one was inconvenienced, and yeah, the only thing I could have asked to be different was just Mother Nature's contribution. But that being said, we had a great weekend nonetheless. The Saturday Xfinity race was one of the best races I've watched in recent history. And the battle between Larson and SVG was next level. And there was some great musical acts to go along with it. I got to bring a lot of coworkers that have never been to a NASCAR event to the race or the concerts or whatever it may have been. So the surrounding programming of the whole weekend was fantastic, even if Sunday was a little bit moist.
And like that's why I love what you guys do for the sport, because you continue to bring new people, right? New eyes. You just mentioned your coworkers. I saw Big Cat there and some of the other guys. So like that's awesome. That's what we continue to need to do, quite frankly. And in my opinion, bringing NASCAR to Chicago is like a great step in that direction. I will say it's funny. You mentioned the rain. And I swear to God, dude, the last like freaking 8 races I've been to have been affected by rain. And I'm like, it's freaking me. The only race that has not like had any sort of rain, the NASCAR race that I've been to, was one I took my dad to. So I'm like, he was the good luck charm. But I say that because maybe if I go to Chicago next year, let's say, it'll like cancel each other out, because Chicago always rains and I always bring rain, so we'll be good. So that might be on my schedule.
Well, I like that thought process, and I also agree with where your head's at. I think anyone who hasn't been to the Chicago street race should definitely get there. It sounds like we're definitely going to be back next year, but outside of that, maybe potentially we'll be back. But to me, I think it's one of the coolest races on the calendar, and I'm as much as it's different and cool that I got to bring those coworkers to the race. I still want to bring them to a more traditional oval
Mhm,
for them to
mhm.
get both perspectives and experiences. But the Chicago street race is incredible. I commend NASCAR for what they're doing with that event. Everyone, I mean, I was looking around and it just looked like such a diverse new fan base. People didn't really know what was going on. They were taking it all in for the first time. And as I said, like what our efforts are getting coworkers and new fans involved or paying attention to the sport. And it felt like NASCAR really knocked it out of the park with those efforts when they came here in Chicago. So if you're listening to this and haven't been to the race, I would recommend next year move quick and get your tickets early because it's an awesome weekend. Even if it rains. The
Yeah,
ponchos
yeah.
are $10 top. So pack a poncho and get a ticket for next
Yeah,
year.
pack a poncho, man up. Let's watch some cars do left and
That's
right
right.
turns in
That's
Chicago.
right.
All right, sweet. So I love that. I appreciate your insight on that. Yeah, I'm obviously like you see it on TV, you hear about it on Twitter, and yeah, it's definitely like I feel like it's a lot like the 500. Obviously, not as prestigious. I'm not saying that at all, but from an event standpoint, like having all the concerts, like I think that's so important. Um,
The drivers seemed really up for it. Like talking to
yeah,
Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, they all seemed like that was something they really wanted to win. And I know you just said like I think eventually this could potentially become like a really sought after desirable win in terms of like maybe not a crown jewel, but definitely one that drivers really want to have under their belt.
100. No, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. And what a segue. Speaking of crown jewels, we've got one this weekend. I literally told myself, I think I tweeted this probably like a year and a half ago. I was like, if NASCAR says they are bringing back the oval in 2024, I will immediately buy my ticket. I did that. I immediately bought my ticket like right after they announced it, whatever that was, like a year ago now. So I am so amped. I'm actually going to Nashville to meet up with a buddy before that. So Spider, you probably won't be in Nashville, but I definitely will be there. I'll probably check out your the new bar there. I haven't been to
Yeah,
Nashville since the bar opened up.
feel free to name drop me at the door. Tell them,
Okay.
show them this clip, this podcast.
All right, sounds good. We'll do. We'll
Yeah.
do. We'll get right in there. All right, cool. Well, like I said, so we've got a crown jewel this Sunday. It is the 30th anniversary of the inaugural Brickyard 400. It's the first time in 4 years we're racing on the oval configuration. Obviously, the past few years we've been doing the road course, which to me it ran its course about 1 year. I was kind of done with that. But 4 years since we've been on the oval. First time in 5 years, there actually will be fans in attendance to watch the oval race because last time we did it was during COVID. So, before we get into some bets, I wanted to ask you, what are your expectations of, first of all, just it being the 30th anniversary, but on top of that, like, how do you think the next gen car will perform on Indy in the oval configuration? I feel like Pocono maybe gave us a little sneak preview, which I'm kind of like, oh shit. But at
Yeah.
the same time, like, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna kind of parrot what I heard on the broadcast this past weekend, and that
Mm-hmm.
was like what you just said, that Pocono was probably be the closest similarity comparison we have to Indy. So I don't know. I would expect probably similar kind of style of racing as to what we saw this past Sunday, but I'm still excited nonetheless. As you said, it's been a lengthy absence of the oval at Indy, and it's speaking of one of the most prestigious coolest places you can be. I was actually lucky to go to Indy 500 qualifying a couple of years ago and just walk, and obviously I'm a NASCAR guy. IndyCar doesn't really do much for me, but
Same.
still very cool. I can admit as a diehard NASCAR fan that was very unreal experience. The pagoda, everything about it, kissing the bricks, just a really cool historic place. And it's also really cool how much the surrounding town comes together. I mean, that place sells out year after year for seemingly every event. And the whole town, you're driving down the street, everyone's got their checkered flags on the light poles, and it's
Oh,
just
let's
it's
go.
almost like what I've never really done like Augusta or like
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what another comparison would be. Like maybe like Churchill Downs
Yep.
surrounding area, but like the whole collective city coming together to really support the racing is fascinating. And I mean, that's one of the top markets if you're a motorsports fan. So I'm really excited to see it. I'll be watching from TV, and hopefully we get a good, exciting race product. Um, yeah, but I think it will be more of what we saw this past Sunday.
I think so, which again I'm okay with because I think like first of all, I enjoy strategy races and I think that was important. Look, it came down to like the 10 best cars and drivers in my opinion in the series were like the top 10, but still there was strategy involved. Like Eric Jones was a guy that like maybe if the strategy goes his way, like he has a chance. So I don't hate a strategy race, and on top of that, like now you're going to couple with possibly what we just saw with like it being the Brickyard. So the
Yeah,
intensity is going to ramp up a little
exactly.
bit.
And even last week, as much as it was kind of like it left a little bit to be desired, I was very impressed and satisfied with the result of that race. If for a second there it was between Bowman and Blaney, and both of those guys were, I think, north of like 25-1. I think they closed at like 28-1.
Mhm.
Um, is the last I saw them on DraftKings. So like for it to be one of those guys that wins, um, I don't know. That's exciting and unpredicted from kind of what my expectations for that race were. So hopefully we can get two consecutive weeks of that and another maybe outside the box winner
Yeah,
this
and
week.
it's speaking of an outside the box winner, I guess we can start with some names there. So I'll give one Spider and then I'll let you give one after. So I guess like for me, one outside the box guy, a dark horse pick, if you will. I think you guys should definitely prop this guy up, whether it be a top 10, top Ford. I am looking at the Indy kid who is driving the number 14 car, once driven by his hero, by his idol. Maybe the final time, like we might see, or I guess like however many races left, right? Like we might never see the 14 car on track again, or maybe a very long time. I'm looking at Chase Briscoe. I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know why, you would make this bet based on speed. Like he wasn't really that good at Pocono. I think he ended up finishing 15th, but I just feel like I go back when the first time we did the Indy road course, like he was slow all year. He was a rookie, didn't have much like coming into the Cup Series, and out of nowhere, he's contending for the win with Denny Hamlin. And I just feel like the stars will somehow align that Chase Briscoe is going to have a shot. He's going to have a shot to win this race. I like storybook bets. I have another one that is a storybook bet, but also is data driven as well. So we love those. But I think of a storybook bet. I can't think honestly of a better storyline than Chase Briscoe going out on top for Stewart Haas Racing and kissing the bricks, the Indy kid. That is my dark horse pick. First, you can comment on that if you want, or I'll let you kind of go to a dark horse guy yourself.
No, I love it. I love it. I've been very encouraged with what I've seen out of Chase Briscoe in the last couple weeks, regardless of kind of what he's had to show for it come the results. Um, and I think everything you said tracks. The storyline is there.
It's there.
Chase won on the road course there. I'm sure he wants to win on the oval.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most intriguing things for me is last year, three teams and drivers did some testing at the Brickyard oval layout. And Chase Briscoe in the 14 car was one of the three drivers. The other two were Bowman and Ty Gibbs. So based on the limited practice and kind of experience that these guys get in the post-COVID racing world,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like any kind of little edge you can get is one that's not to be discounted. And as you said, Chase obviously wants to win this weekend more than some other tracks they race at throughout the 36 weeks. I like it. I like the Chase Briscoe play. And I like where he's the dark horse. I'm interested to see what his odds are going to be. But another guy that I've been intrigued by recently is Josh Berry and
Yeah.
his teammate at Stewart Haas. And I think a lot of that is because I look at these driver averages, and a lot of data and promising information comes from the Kevin Harvick's car. And obviously Josh Berry's wheeling it now, but
Mm-hmm.
if 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 Josh Berry can be a fraction of what Kevin Harvick was, I think he will have a really good experience in top. I would maybe take him for top 10 this week. Josh Berry. I did the same last week, so again, I'm just really buying into a lot of the the Harvick stats, which might be kind of dumb, but I'm intrigued with Stewart Haas. It seems like they've gotten better as the seasons kind of went on, and Chase, like I said, the last couple weeks has looked really good. I might sprinkle on him to win the thing, and then also his teammate Josh Berry for a top 10. But there's another Ford driver with ties to this track that I'm really intrigued by, and his name is Joey Logano.
Oh, come on. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's talk about it. Talk about it for me, because
Joey
I got him as
Logano.
well.
Yeah, Joey Logano is probably going to be my top main event play in this race. And in 12 races here, he has 8 top 10s. So I'm incredibly high on Joey Logano. The other thing is Team Penske. Joey Logano drives for him. Roger Penske owns Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So we're going to expect the Fords running up front, especially the Penske ones. I love the Chase Briscoe play, but I think Joey Logano will probably be a little bit shorter of a price. And based on what we saw last week, like I said, if the broadcast is right, that what we saw at Pocono will be similar to what we see this weekend at Indy. I expect Blaney and Logano to be running really strong at a track that their team owner owns and probably wants to look good at. So those are the guys I'm watching for. I'm pretty Ford heavy. Outside of that, maybe Brad K, but I don't
Okay.
know that now I've named half the Ford drivers. So
No, no, no. I love it. I love the Logano play as well. The only thing I'll add to all of what you just said is who have we come to find out is the fastest learner, it seems like, in the Cup Series? It's Joey Logano. Every time we do something new, it seems like Joey Logano figures out a way to win. I know
yep.
this isn't technically new, but we have a new car racing on Indy, something we haven't seen. And Joey Logano always figures out a way. And I honestly was so surprised at the result I saw. I wasn't really surprised that Blaney was going to be good, but Logano has often been slow on some of the larger tracks. He had a good car, ended up top 5, I believe, and qualified 9th, ran like pretty much top 10 the whole race. So I love the Logano bet. And to your point, right, 30th anniversary of Indy at Rogers Track, you just feel like it feels like one of those Penske drivers kind of just needs to win this thing. And I think Logano, you put Blaney aside, I think Logano is probably the best bet here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna be all over Logano. And the other thing, speaking of storylines, I low key wanted Briscoe to be given a shot at Penske. And I mean, Austin Cindric winning this year probably extinguished that little flame that I had for
Yeah.
that to happen. But
Yeah.
Briscoe's been a loyal Ford guy his whole career, from my understanding. And what better opportunity than one of the most prestigious Ford teams? Unfortunately, didn't work out. I'm excited to see Chase take over for Truex next year, but I don't know. That was a storyline brewing in my brain prior to Chase's recent announcement.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm excited to see what he can do in that 19. I think he's super talented. I really do. Um, I want to go to another bet, and honestly, I love the Logano bet, but to me, my favorite bet of the weekend, if I could put it as bet of the year, I'm close to it. And you know the rules of bet of the year, Spider. You can give as many bet of the years out as you want, but you have to win. You got to win
Right.
your bet of the year. Then you get another one. And luckily, I've won. I won my bet of the year was an AJ Allmendinger top 10. I think back at Sonoma it was. We killed that. It was like plus money. Like what idiots put that at plus
Yeah,
money?
that's
I mean,
crazy.
like come on. So I'm close to this driver money line being bet of the year, but it's always tough to put a money line bet of the year. But this driver looked good at Pocono, qualified in the top 5, had speed all weekend, practiced qualifying the race, finished top 5. Then there's a story, a little bit of, again, a storyline bet, right? The inaugural winner in 1994 was Jeff Gordon, the 24 car. Fast forward 10th anniversary, Jeff Gordon, the 24 car. Fast forward 20th anniversary, Jeff Gordon, the 24 car. Fast forward to the 30th anniversary, William Byron and Victory Lane. 40th anniversary for Hendrick Motorsports is the big year for them. How great would it be to couple that 500 win with a milestone win in your 40th anniversary year with Hendrick? 24 car, we see that thing back in Victory Lane. it's a storyline bet, but on top of that, he was fast all weekend at Pocono. I think there's just going to, again, that little extra added motivation that all the drivers are going to have this Sunday. I feel like all of the things that I just said and named, William Byron knows that in the back of it, in his head. He definitely knows that.
I mean, I love it. Personally, I'm long on William Byron. I've been saying the 24 car in 24. I still think William Byron wins the NASCAR Cup Series championship this year, as
We
much as he
both
might
would
have cooled
help.
off, from the beginning of the season. And the sports books and DraftKings say the same thing. I took him 400 plus 400 plus 450 plus 500. Now I think he's somewhere around 6-1 to win the championship. But I think William Byron is going to be back in a big way. There's no way he's just going to slump the rest of the season. Excuse me. This is a great opportunity for him, as did I think last week was a great opportunity for him. He showed up. He looks stronger than I think DraftKings gave him credit for going into the race, and he over delivered from where my expectations were. So I would love that. I would love to see Willie B put on the giant cap and hit a victory lane. Um, but yeah, I think I'm extremely encouraged by him this year, and he seems to have the skill set to be able to win at a myriad of different kind of tracks. So if there's a guy that could do it on this kind of unfamiliar one, I think Willie B or Joey Logano, as we alluded to, but Willie B is right there alongside him, and I love it. 24 car in 2024.
Yeah, that's it, right? I mean, that's what we're riding on, the 24 and 24. And like it's funny you say that, like, he cooled off a little bit, which sort of he did, but like this is what he's done every season. Like he
Right.
cools off like right kind of early late spring, early summer, and then he like just comes back out of nowhere. And to me, this is the race where he kind of turns it back on, in my opinion.
I love it. No, it's like anything else, right? Like, he's William Byron's a great student. He gets his homework done on, at 5 p.m. Then at 6 p.m. he's playing video games until maybe like midnight. And then I don't know, that's a horrible analogy, but you get it.
I get it. No,
His,
I
his
I
work
get
was
it.
done after he won 3 races very early on. So now he can
Hmm.
kind of take his foot off the gas, literally or metaphorically, and lock back in I mean, maybe who's to say that the 24 team wasn't trying out new strategies or testing shit that's going to help them come playoffs. The last few weeks, as I blamed William Byron for cooling off, that could have just been a testing or like kind of like, you know, they might have been focusing on other things. So I'm very encouraged by William Byron, and I love where your head's at, Johnny. I would love to see the 24 car in victory lane here this week or in Phoenix at the end of the season.
Yeah. So look, this podcast, first of all, we are a DraftKings podcast. I just want to
Hell
put that
yeah.
out. I know you guys are
Yeah.
DraftKings. I only bet, well, in Rhode Island, you can only bet Rhode Island Sportsbook. But anytime I work in Mass, so it's DraftKings in Mass. It's DraftKings when I get over the Connecticut line. So
DraftKings has also been crushing it as a shameless plug here. The promos and boosts they have. Like last week, I think I got a 25% profit boost on any pick for NASCAR. So like, if there's a NASCAR sports book, it's probably DraftKings.
so if you can do a 25% profit boost on a Logano top 10 and we get that close to plus money, oh my goodness
I'm I'm
gracious.
pretty sure for the Chicago one they had a 33% boost.
Please, I mean, come on
So
now.
yeah, I mean DraftKings is
Woo.
a spot for NASCAR.
Yeah, and
Especially also, do you ever do any daily fantasy for NASCAR?
I used to. I used to. I mean, I sometimes do, but I don't know. I feel like I'm not as good
Yeah, it's
as some
tough
of the.
to it's tough to the people that are good at that are really fucking good at it. I'm sorry if I keep swearing
No, no, we
on the
can
show.
curse on this show. Trust
Okay,
me.
great. Great. But yeah, I don't know. I love the DraftKings has both daily fantasy and some great promos for normal sportsbook applications.
So there's the plug, and yeah, look, we don't want to trash FanDuel, but they don't really give much of a good card.
No,
Like
fuck them.
they give nothing. You can bet winners. That's about it on FanDuel.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's look. I guess want to do one more pick. I don't know. Maybe you and I can real quick do some sort of like a parlay. Uh,
Yeah.
something like that. Again, I like the Chase Briscoe top 10. Um, maybe that Josh Berry pick. I don't know. What do you got? You
Yeah.
got one more for me?
Um Honestly, I as much as I'd probably throw Brad K over Josh Berry. I
Okay.
feel like RFK has been running decent. And Brad K is another guy that I like at this track. Average finish of 12.9, so he's right
Hmm.
there. Um, he's got eight, six top. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know.
He's a winner here, though, too. We got to remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah. What do you think? So you think Chase Briscoe top 10?
I like that. Writing this down. We're going to
Joe
get this out.
Joey Logano top 5 maybe?
I like that.
Um, I don't know. What do you think for the third one?
What else
What
do we?
about William Byron? Let's get William Byron in there.
Yeah. How about William Byron, top five?
I like that.
Yeah.
Those are three drivers I can get behind, especially at Indy.
My goodness, talk about a bet right there. So there it is. That's the Johnny Spider parlay, same race parlay, which again, DraftKings allows you to do. I don't know what other places allow you to do that. But we've got Briscoe top 10, we've got Logano top 5, and Byron top 5. Odds haven't came out yet, but that's got to be at least like 12 to 1, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be juicy. That's exactly what I would say, like plus 1250 maybe.
Yeah,
Or
I think so.
14 to 1, 15 to 1, somewhere around there.
Um, well, awesome, dude. This has been so much fun. I appreciate it. I am
Absolutely.
excited for this weekend. I think it's going to be a great event. I've been tweeting Bob Pockris to hey Bob, what does the schedule look like? Are there any concerts? You'd feel like the 30th anniversary, Luke Combs or somebody like that would show up, but I
Yeah.
haven't seen anything. Have you?
I have not. I don't know off the top who's the most famous musical artist from Indiana. I would say maybe the only one that I even know is Michael Jackson was born in Gary, Indiana, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
We
But
can get his ghost out.
if there's a living Indiana musician, they should bring them out to celebrate. I think that'd be a nice touch. But
I agree.
there's
I
still
agree.
time. So if they're hearing this, cut the check, make it happen.
Come on, let's go, guys. Let's do it.
You're gonna have a great time at the track, Johnny. I wish I was gonna be there this weekend, but hold it down for me and yeah, have a great time. Have a couple beers in my name.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna use. Hey, you
And
said I could do it
just
at the
play the
bar.
clip. Run the
I'm gonna
clip.
show him the clip. I'm
Yep.
gonna show him the clip. I love that. Yeah, like I said, man, thanks so much for coming on. Want to know what you guys think? As always, put your thoughts in the comment section below. If you'll be tailing Spider and I this weekend, give this video a like, goes a long way for the channel, and subscribe for plenty more content. And what do I always say? Let's win some money. Thanks for watching.